Alright, what's up guys? So I'm going to do a little Q&A today of all the stuff that you guys sent me. I'm not going to do the whole little thing. I'm just going to find whichever ones I found on my phone and kind of go from there. Also, about like yesterday's video, I wasn't like singling anybody out with that rant, but I'm pretty sure if you read it and you feel guilty, then you know who you are. So let's get this started. I'm just going to bounce around. The video might skip a little bit while I search, but I'll get to everybody, hopefully. So first one's from Screw Mugs. He asks, how come you don't race anymore? I know I've seen you in some videos before, at least one race, and he also, this is like a two-part question, I guess, or another question. He asks, how can I tell what motors are more powerful? First four numbers are stator size, bigger equals more torque. Last four numbers are RPM per volt, or something like that. The motor thing, maybe I'll save that to another time because you pretty much have it right, but we could go into that. It's going to be, I don't know, we can make a whole video on that probably on motors. But the reason I don't race anymore is just the races that I've been to. It's more of an organization thing. I hate going to a race ready to fly and I stand around all day just waiting. It's basically a waiting game, and then you get up to fly and you have video problems or something. It's just very unorganized. I just don't like where it's at. Maybe when it gets a little bit more organized and everything, I'll probably do a couple more races. I feel like this is kind of a thing. It's kind of like playing the senior tour on golf or something. Like, there's all these kids that are super fast right now. I'm waiting to see like an 80-year-old that's like really fast. I feel like you could do this for a really long time, which is kind of cool about this hobby, is that it's not very age restrictive. But that's why you don't see me at any races, and I do have more fun just flying around doing these type of edits and the freestyle stuff, and that I think that's where you'll probably see more of me just in general. Let's see, FPV Kings asked, I wanted to know how I could get one of those single earpieces with a short cord for my goggles. So those are pretty, actually, if you have like an old earpiece or something, it's pretty simple to make. I should probably do a video on that, but basically you have to like, it's like making like a one piece, like for like a mono earpiece. You could get them on Amazon. If you look up mono earpiece, you could just buy like a single one if you want to. But you're basically just taking out the electrical, like the wires from the insulation, just going and leaving it go into the single earbud. But that's pretty much how you make that. So yeah, maybe I'll make a little video on it, but if you don't want to make it yourself, just go on Amazon and look up mono earbud and it should come up. Alright, Kevin Morrow asks, why do you like beta over Kiss now? I kind of wanted to try Kiss and I don't know now. The thing is that the Kiss setup is just super sensitive. For me, it's like if I'm flying over a lot of the stuff, which is asphalt, concrete, things like that, you crash and it just, like the gyro setup and everything, it has to be a really clean, perfect setup. And Betaflight's not really that way, and Betaflight keeps getting a lot better and better to where, I mean, I could just be smashing like my quad around all day and it just keeps flying. I don't get a lot of like detuned like shakes or anything out of it. I've had messed up props all day, and you just don't, it keeps cleaner video for me throughout the day, to where the Kiss setup, I have to be very careful and fly, I want to say a little bit more precisely when I like thrashing it around a little bit more and taking a little bit more risks in a way, to where I think the Betaflight setup is just a little bit better for me. That's why I'm sticking to Betaflight and that whole end. But you know, you could run the Kiss ESCs, which are great for Betaflight as well. So like a Kiss ESC Betaflight combo, that's a good one to have also. Okay, so Spike RC says, what do you think of the F4 Omnibus FC? I'm not sure which FC that is, but all the F4 stuff, it's kind of like Nays worked for a really long time and nobody had a problem with Nays, and then like I'm still sticking to the F3 boards because I feel like they're fine. I don't really see a huge improvement for me going to an F4 board quite yet. I do have some stuff that has like an F4 like the chip on there, but I just don't see the big improvement. So I'm not too worried about F4, and I even heard that some guys are jumping to F7 now, which it's the whole bandwagon thing, whatever. Just stick with F3 with some good boards. It's already been like tried and true. And I'd rather be up in the air and flying more often than trying to fiddle on the computer with like an F4 board and trying to get stuff to work. Let's see, what else can we find? All right, I'm gonna mess this one up. It's Blake Bowerly. Blake Bowerly, I think is what it is. But he says, how do you know which PID to change when you're flying? So a lot of it also comes from experience with this, is when I'm going to say this. But when you're flying, you can see things like, I know when I have bounce back coming from like, you know, a flip or a roll or something like that, usually I could tune that out with like my eye if I have my PIDs already tuned. Certain vibrations, like when you could hear them and you could also see them. So like things you learn as you go. But I'd say the best way that I know is just trial and error. I mean, crank up like your P's a lot, like say on pitch or roll, see what it does, and then bring it down, and you start to notice the characteristics that your quad does. And then once you know those characteristics, it makes PID tuning a lot quicker and easier, and that's the best way I would go about it. Mario Santos asks, which one would you recommend for a starter, 5-inch or 6-inch, apart from a brush micro and simulator? I would say 5-inch. I know I'm doing a lot of stuff with a 6-inch, and I would love to tell you guys, like, yeah, go out and fly a 6-inch. The only thing is there's very limited stuff right now still for a 6-inch, and flying a 5-inch would just be a lot more accessible and easier for somebody to get started with. You can find a lot of cheap parts for 5-inch just because there's so much stuff out there. You don't really have to, like, you know, get specific and buy more. I'd say the components for a 6-inch are more on the higher end because to get a good setup right, there's only specific stuff that you could use right now that works good at least. So I would say 5-inch would definitely be the way to start just because there's more out there for you to get. Okay, another 6-inch question from Adam Weston. Which 6-inch would you throw together if you just wanted to sport fly and not break the bank? If I didn't want to break the bank, I think you could easily throw together something like you want to get a good frame for a 6-inch because it's the longer arms. You don't want the arms really to flex that much. You need to have it. The thing is, the 6-inch can be very hard to tune sometimes, and a lot of people have trouble with that. So, like I said on the last comment, the parts are kind of limited to go. The best way I would go around it, I wouldn't say like do like a full KISS setup or something like that, but I would definitely like the Alien, the Impulse RC Alien 6-inch, or especially the Drone Wolf Pup 6-inch that I fly. That would be the frame I would go with. The thing is with the Alien, the only combo I would like is the 6-inch arms with like a 4-inch frame or like a smaller frame, because having the smaller frame and everything is what really does the trick on making the 6-inch pretty good. So that's the great thing about the Drone Wolf, and why I'm so happy with it is because it already has like one of the smallest bodies out there. So putting the 6-inch arms on it and everything, it was already like a no-brainer. It was good to go. It's solid. So I'd go with like the Drone Wolf frame, the TBS ESCs or the DYS ones. All those are like fairly cheap. I think they come in at like $15 or something like that, compared to say like KISS ESCs. And you know, any Betaflight board that can run Betaflight motors, I would say you have to definitely go with like the Hyperlight or the Brother RC, the 2206 2140 kV if you want a solid setup. So you have to kind of go with that. VTX, anything will work as long as you know, it depends where you're flying. If you want to, you could go anywhere from a Unify Pro down to like a just your regular 200 milliwatt cheap, you know, VTX that you find, just depending on your flying area. So yeah, I would definitely that's the main components I would go with. Same with FPV cam, HS1177, something like that would definitely, all that stuff would just be my like cheap setup to go with. That actually isn't really cheap. It flies excellent, but like I said, you're limited on 6-inch stuff. Brennan G asks, I got a question. When can we go fly together, my brother? Anytime. Just come over and fly. Hit me up, and we could go out and fly. So, yeah, I know, like, I get that question a lot, is people want to, fly sometime or something like that. I don't know how to really answer it. I mean, I'd love to fly with everybody at some point, but I just don't know how to meet up with everybody. Maybe I could start organizing some meetups or something. I don't really know. Maybe leave me a comment if that's a good idea. 7L Elksray, I think that's your name. His questions is your thoughts on legal marijuana. I think this is a question because I live in California. Well, interesting question. There's obviously two sides to this. Some people are for it and some people aren't. I'd say there's positives about it and there's negatives. I think there's always going to be idiots that do all that stuff. It's kind of like, for me, it's on the same level as alcohol, to where you're always going to have idiots that are just ruining it for everybody. But, drink as a health-wise type thing, having a drink a day is not really too bad. As I know there's a lot of health benefits to marijuana as well. I think the best thing about it is now that it's legal, hopefully eventually as more places go legal, on the federal level it goes legal, and we could do more studies and things on how it affects people better, to help people with, we already know it helps people with cancer and things like that, and cerebral palsy and all kinds of other things. Maybe there's more to it, but if we could get it on a federal level where they use our tax money for research on it, then I think it is a good thing. So legalizing it across the board to get to that point to where we could find the health benefits of it more than like chemically done scientific medical pharmaceuticals that mess people up, because you guys see all those commercials on TV that you take this and it kills you still. But yeah, that's what I think about it. I think I have another comments on another video, so give me 1 second. I'll go and look for those real quick. Okay, so Drone It says, I'm trying to find out what would be a good frame for my first build in your opinion. A first frame, I would say, if you are kind of the same thing. If you're going to be looking for a first frame that's like a quality build, I'd say anything from the Drone Wolf Pup, which I fly. I just know that's a good frame, and I say it not because I'm sponsored by it, but the fact that I could actually totally tell you guys that I fly it a lot, I crash it a lot, and it holds up quite well. So I know there's a lot of other people out there that fly it and are very happy with it. Same with Impulse RC, the Alien. That's another good frame that holds up very well, quality made. And X Hover. I know X Hover is a really good frame as well. Those hold up really great. It's a little different because the battery's on the bottom and the other ones are top-mounted frames, which I like the top mount a little bit more. But yeah, I'd say, any one of those three, you should be pretty well off. All right, so last question. This one is from the Drone Kid. He asks, which is like the best, like a budget VTX? And for me, I'd say, there's so many budget VTXs out there. If you really want to get a VTX, I'd say like the Unify Pro is very good. I haven't had any problems with it. It goes like all the way up to 800 milliwatts. It's a very, very good video feed, and I trust it. But it's not like the best value one. Like the ones that I've used are like the FXT ones. Those are cheap. I think those are like $40, and they're 600 milliwatt VTXs, but most likely they're around 800 to 1000 milliwatt. I think also Surge from Pyroflip has a DYS one where he's saying that one's like 800 to 1000 milliwatt also. You don't want to use those in races and stuff because you'd like blow out everybody's video feeds, but they're pretty cheap, and yeah, that should give you a pretty good video, being that strong of a power of milliwatt. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I really have for the questions and answers. Throw me some more questions so I can answer them. And yeah, you guys go out there, get nasty. I will see you guys next time when we do this. You guys have a good one. Peace.